Welcome to the channel. We are talking about the power DragBat, which I'm coining here, saying it again, because there's three components, as I said before, you want to look for with this strategy. And to take down these bases, and your success rate is going to be well above 70. What is it? First off, can you use ice golems? Where can you use ice golems? At Town Hall 11 or 12. 10 is going to be golems to distract the wizard towers. One of the biggest keys you can look for. If you can get that on these bases, so in this instance, there's actually two places. The mortar over here and this archer tower right there. You can use ice golems to distract those wizard towers, right? The second thing is sweeper placement. Where on the base is the best way to enter where the sweepers are. Now, some bases, sweepers aren't facing where you want to enter. That's amazing. That's where you want to go. And the third one is the entry point, of course. You want to make sure you get that funnel correctly as easily and cheaply as possible. And then the rest, you'll bring in the dragons, right? Got a little cold here, but we're going to be okay. So, he's going to use an electric dragon here at 1 o'clock area to funnel kind of this section here, and then the king and queen. Now, why did he decide to do this? Why invest? He could have put the king there and the queen. Well, one reason he did, he wanted to make sure the queen actually survived a little bit longer. If he put the king way up here, he was going to have to use, the king would not have been able to tank. Queen would not have been able to get as much down as he wanted. So this queen's actually going to be able to get another wizard tower. That's very important. If you can get a wizard tower down with your king, queen, it's going to be worth it. And then his entry point is going to grab 2 of the wizard towers, right? Notice, 2 of the wizard towers. So what we're looking at here is just the 6 o'clock section that is going to be hit. And of course, he has a slammer. Use the slammer where needed. Now, in this instance, he is going to put the slammer towards 3 o'clock side, and we're about to see that. I would say he was a little late on the slammer. I think he could have brought it in just a little bit sooner, gotten that sweeper down a little bit sooner as well. In the end, will it matter? It could have mattered, right? Could have mattered. There comes the slammer, but he's got the ice golem, as I said. Look at that. Because he had 2 of the elements. Now, he only went against 1 sweeper, of course, and that's what you usually do. But that 1 sweeper could cause a problem. But because he was able to funnel so well and get huge value from his king and queen, the dragons had good pathing, okay? And then the ice golem, of course, finishes the job, distracts this wizard tower, so the bat spells are able to survive. He did not need to put a freeze here. Obviously, he must have fat-fingered that one. He could have used the other freeze at the Inferno Tower, which would have kept up his bats a bit. They don't, he loses some, right? He definitely lost some bats there at the end, but not enough to really matter. Again, this attack strategy, you could tell, it's a massacre. Slammer didn't even pop. One thing I do, and he's got 3 loons in the bag. On these attacks, should you bring Goblin or something? I have actually time failed on this because I didn't have my any bats up to clean up, and the dragons were so few. I just time failed, even though these typically are quick raids. It just happened. Anyways, this is your success rate, guys. If you can get any of those, if you can get 2 to 3 components, it's going to be huge. If you get all 3 components, bro, you are going to dominate every single base with the power DragBat. And the reason I call it the power DragBat is because that's what you're looking for. Now, some people just DragBat, right? They'll just hit a base. They said, well, all that matters is funneling, and I'll go right in, and boom. Now, it requires a little bit more. Now, this one's interesting, right? Where could you enter? Lots of different ways, of course. You want to make sure you enter where your dragons can get some of those wizard towers. It's also another good place to look for. In this base specifically, there are no ice golem placements. Nowhere for the ice golems to distract the wizard tower. So what that means is he's bringing a hound. He has the camp space for the hound. He's got some more camp space for some funneling as well. So we'll play this one. And this is your typical army. Now, in this instance, he's going. I would like to see, honestly, probably more freeze because there's no ice golem. those wizard towers can be tricky. Now, the one wizard tower I'm a little concerned about here is the one by the queen, way in the south. Obviously, this other one by the Inferno Tower. But he does have a good funnel here. He does make a good funnel. And his entry point is only going to have to deal with one sweeper, but not for the whole entire time. A lot of people might just enter straight in on the Eagle Artillery, but he's able to get a nice funnel in. And how the base is set up, he's going to be able to make sure those dragons push kind of towards the CC here. In this middle section, that's where the bunch of the wizard towers are. So, does a nice job. Dragons coming in hot and dandy. And let's see. Warden down. He's got the Hound. Still in the bag with the Slammer as well. Okay? Now, he opts not to put in the Hound with the Warden and Dragons. He's going to protect his Slammer. And I kind of like that move, right? Nothing's really going to hurt the Slammer at 3 because the Hound is there. If there's any SAMs or anything, it'll soak it up, distracts the air defense as well. So the Slammer is able to get down 3 o'clock section. The one thing he did miss, the pathing here. He could have easily put that Slammer, had it go towards the IT. Could have made a difference. Only because all he needed was 2 loons here at the mortar. It would have dropped. Those things you can look. You know, you can kind of predict where your Slammer is going to go. If you think at all it might wander off, it's worth the 2 loons there. It would have gotten in there quicker. Anyways, here comes the bats. He's going to bat wave. You could have bat bombed here as well. Takes down the 1 wizard tower. Now, that's dangerous. Putting in these loons with the bats can be very dangerous. Only because if the red bomb happens, well, yeah, you know what happens there. Red bombs can cause disaster to the bats. Now, of course, look at what I said. Look at the pathing of the Slammer. Because he didn't get those loons on the mortar, he lost all his bats at the end. It certainly could have made a difference. Was this a massacre? No, because a couple things were not there. The components, right? This base had no ice golem distractions. That's a big one. As well as, so we had to invest a little bit more. His bats didn't get as much. Does it make sense? As I said before, if you can get the 3 components you're looking for, those are the bases you want to DragBat. Can you DragBat other bases? Of course. The whole point of this video is to help you spot those bases so you can realize kind of what to DragBat or what not to DragBat. Can it work on any base? Of course, like any strategy can work on any base, but there are certain bases that work way better for this DragBat, okay? And those are the things I look for. It's very easy. You can scout. Honestly, you can go through all the 11s. So let's just let's not hit it, but let's just look at it. You can look through all the bases and kind of see. Now this one, although you have a wizard tower out by itself, which is great, loons could grab that. Would this be a good DragBat? Well, the only way, so the sweeper placement is good, right? This is what you're looking for. Sweeper placement. Oh man, what about at the town hall? Well, we already know this town hall section is going to be difficult. The SAMs are going to be there, so you're going to have to really get the funneling here. The biggest problem on this base is the funneling. He's got queen, king there. That's going to slow down the dragons. You have weird funneling. Of course, you could use a Slammer on one side to help push in. You would do that, and then the heroes on the other. But notice, you won't be able to get deep. So when the dragons kind of push into this Expo Wizard Tower compartment, there's a high likelihood they split around. You have a weird split, so you don't get a lot of troops right up in the middle here, if that makes sense. Now you could DragBat, but the problem is, with the bats, sure you could freeze one of these ITs, but you can't freeze both. And you can't predict where the dragons are going to go. So, getting your dragons to those multis, it could be difficult. Now, an E-Drag would do some wonders here on the Town Hall. I think it could be worth it, but of course that does limit your space. Could you E-Drag this base? You possibly could, certainly. High likelihood. If you bring the E-Drags, there's many. Of course, you wouldn't bring bats, but you do have air defenses. kind of supply. So that's kind of what you're looking for. That's kind of thing. I mean, you certainly could do this. It's very tempting to do this, but they also could be baiting you, right? They could be baiting you with this. It's a little bit, it looks easy. I mean, it looks easy, but there are some tricky moments, and it really gets tricky around this eagle artillery as your dragons swoop around, because you won't be able to funnel over on these sides. You won't. So if they wander off to the side too much, or if you're too late on your slammer, you will get funny pathing, and it could hurt you in the end. So this base is iffy. I would say look for other bases to try it, but that's what I'm looking for. Those components that certainly can, and I think if you looked at it long enough, you could probably come up with a good plan to DragBat that one. So that's kind of how you scout a base. Again, you can easily go through all of the 11s and do that, and there's the video. Power DragBat, that's what you're looking for. Thanks again for watching. If you want to join a clan, hey, Toxic Rabbits, if you're a solid player, I think they're looking for people. So they're a Buy Forever family. So maybe sign up, join up, say hello. We'll see you next time. Halo out.